Hello everyone and welcome to the latest with Amanda.ie. I am joined today by another Amanda. We've got Amanda Johnston from Drumbo with us today. Amanda's going to talk to us about her fitness journey. So we're purposely calling it a fitness journey and a strength journey and a health journey, because I think we can get too preoccupied with scales and dress sizes and all that sort of crack. And it really has been a transformation that has changed your physical and your mental health for the better, Amanda. Thank you for joining me today. How are you doing?
I'm good, Amanda. This will be a slightly weird conversation, Amanda and Amanda.
All the best girls are named Amanda.
Of course.
So you started on this, maybe if we go back to just the very start, whenever you wanted things to change for you, it was maybe 5 or 6 years ago?
It actually slightly longer than that. It was the latter part of 2014. And my mum actually died in October 2014 after a long battle with dementia. And then unofficially, when she had dementia, I was my sister's legal guardian. But of course now in black and white, then it actually said in her will that I was my sister's who's special needs, that I was her legal guardian. And I thought, right, I'm hurtling towards 40 here and, in the next sort of like 6 months or so. So I owed it to her to be sort of healthier and around as long as possible. So that started my change of lifestyle in the January 2015. And sort of a few months later, sort of got into the right mindset.
And where were you with regard to your own health then? How were you feeling about your physical self, about your physical body? How were you unhappy with yourself, or how were you?
To be honest, no. I always quite liked being big. I know that sounds, some people can be big and not confident, other people can be. And I didn't mind it. The only thing I didn't like would have been, when you did maybe go and try and buy clothes for going out, it was very difficult to get anything really nice, because most clothes kind of go up to maybe 16, 18 in the sort of nicer clothes. But I was sort of like 20, 22, borderline on the 24, that kind of thing. So it was very, very difficult. So that's the time she didn't feel great. And myself, I didn't really have bad health. Thankfully, I was very lucky that way. But, I knew, yes, that, in the longer term, getting fat and 40 isn't a good idea. So I had to sort of do something about it.
And then how did you start? Because obviously there's lots of different ways, and I've discussed with you previously that I've been up and down over the years as well, and I'm currently in hopefully the downward trajectory, and hopefully this time it will stick. But whereas I have yo-yoed up and down, you've managed to lose all of the weight that you wanted to, improve your fitness, and you've managed to sustain that. So tell us, how did you start off by doing it? What way did it work for you?
To be honest, from day one, I kind of knew the concept of basically losing weight is about energy in versus energy out. So you kind of have to move more than you eat, or eat less than you move, basically. So I decided that the thing that I didn't do very much of was the moving element. So I was going to go and join a gym, and for some reason I decided I was going to do it every morning before work. Which was a big thing. That was actually hard, because actually we all have this perception of the gyms are where those fit people go, particularly the women that only wear sort of those shorts and the bras, that kind of thing. And everybody's looking at everybody. And, so I went around a few gyms to try and find one that, I'd like. And I started off at Yorkgate when it was Arena, because it seemed to be a nice sort of family gym. Plus it was on the 3rd floor. So I kind of thought, maybe not lots of people go here, nobody will see me. And I went, and it was difficult at the start. Like I could do very little, maybe 10 minutes walking on the treadmill, 10 minutes on the bike, that kind of thing to begin with. And I'd be red and breathless and sort of leave, and it sort of went from there.
And what about your diet? Like, did you go do anything in particular there? Did you?
At the start, not a thing, to be honest. At the start, I literally just went, right, move more and see how I kind of went along. And, at the start, because I was so big, just because I was actually moving more, I actually did start to lose weight. And then I thought, well, right, I have to consider food here. Now, my diet would have been not the worst, like most people. Yes, of course you would have takeaways and stuff, but nice product placement there with loaf mug there
Oh,
as
do you
well
like
from
that?
Social Enterprise. I like that too. Just have to stop mid-sentence like that, like
I've
that.
got the green one as well. They're lovely.
Oh, they're brilliant. So yes, but portion size was huge. I was brought up on a farm, so I was used to like mum putting out a big massive plate of potatoes and meat and veg and just eat and eat. So I had to think about how do you sort of like cut things down, but I didn't look at cutting out any kind of food grouping either. I just knew the concept of, right, don't eat as much junk. So yes, if you had 2 takeaways a week, maybe have 1 takeaway, and cut down on the portion size, and that seemed to start working.
And so it was sort of slow and steady, and you were depriving yourself of everything. You were still having treats, and you were just moving more and getting yourself fitter.
Yes.
And how long did it take for you to feel, okay, I've achieved what I want to, now it's time to maintain it?
Yeah. Well, the first few months, as you can imagine, a couple of stone fell off quite quickly. But I actually, first of all, lost 7 stone within about 20 months. And yes, over those 20 months, then, I did start to do things like kettlebell classes, circuit training, spin classes, found a bit of a love for weightlifting, which is what I still do now, and still like lift weights every morning before work. And actually over those 20 months, like I was probably away for 6 or 7 weekends, and during those weekends I completely just ate and drank whatever I like. And I'm one of those bad people that like pints of cider, actually, which of course is full of sugar and not the best thing that people would, perceive and not to be good. But I ate and drank those, and I still managed to lose the 7 stone. So I lost that in about 20 months and sort of maintained basically from then, which what would that have been, by sort of September, October time of 2015, and kept maintaining right up until about September 2018, when my sister actually took sort of quite ill, the one I'm legal guardian for. She was in hospital for 21 days, quite ill. And for the next year or so, or towards the good old COVID, I did actually put about a stone on, because I'm very sort of honest about that. Most people probably wouldn't have noticed, but I noticed kind of thing, because more kind of, your waistline sort of felt, obviously it was getting a little bit tighter, because I had gone from those massive sizes right down to, don't get me wrong, anywhere between maybe a 10 and a 14, because as we all know, the sizes in shops massively differ from one to the other. In fact, you could buy like a 10 today in a shop and go back into that same shop, and the 10 even in it wouldn't work. So I think even that can be difficult for women in particular, because we do get obsessed by numbers. So then when COVID kind of came along, I kind of thought, well, you could do one of 2 things here. You could put a little bit of more weight on, or you could actually go down the line of taking that stone back off. So actually I took that stone off and another 1.5 stone off. So I've actually 8.5 stone off in total. And then this year I've kind of got a love, and you probably saw on my social media, for hiking as well too. And I've started hiking this summer with a social enterprise company, which kind of bodes in well with the day job as well too. But like, I just love everything now. So while I say I love being bigger, and I didn't mind being bigger, and I was that kind of bubbly character, because I've been very lucky in that I've been someone that's had, a very positive kind of upbringing, plus being quite a strong, like independent kind of person as well too. And, yes, don't get me wrong, people do tend to say things to you when you're bigger that, if you were someone that took things to heart, it'd be very easily to be offended by. They don't mean to, but they kind of do at times, and that can really hurt as well too. But now, losing the weight, like, yes, I feel phenomenal. I do really, really feel phenomenal. Like, my skin and all as well. Not that I had really bad skin, but my skin and all like feels amazing. Even down to, your hair even feels better. But the things that you can do now are just phenomenal. And I just keep challenging myself to do more stuff, and even trying to sort of combat fears, because I don't really like heights. But yet I'm climbing mountains now.
That kind of the hiking challenges, you're constantly sort of setting yourself goals, not because you're worried about, lapsing or anything like that, but just because you're just loving it, you're loving life, and you're setting yourself extra challenges to see if you can make them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have really got into like the mindset of that, it is harder maintaining, don't get me wrong, because actually when you're on that kind of weight loss journey or lifestyle journey, because I don't really like calling it weight loss, to be honest, because I thought maybe when I started this, I would lose maybe a stone or 2 stone or something like that, because I didn't mind being bigger. I didn't feel that I was really massively big, albeit I obviously was quite large, but that's not trying to, be sizes against anybody or anything either, because I genuinely believe that whatever you're comfortable in your skin, you should be what you are. We're not all meant to be like, whatever size waist and a size 10 or whatever, it's whatever you feel comfortable kind of in your body, but, I just can do so much more now, and I just absolutely love it. But I have been on a real mindset and really get into the mindset of, like, for example, in July, myself and my husband were away for a week's holiday, and of course him and sister and stuff away. And that week, like, I literally eat and drink everything inside, as I said before, I don't mind that at all. And then when I come back on the Monday, then I just rein it back in, and I kind of go, right, well, you kind of have your stable kind of, breakfast, lunch, dinner, if you want, like, most days I have a little bit of chocolate. But just
not a family pack instead.
Yes, exactly. And I'm actually very good now at sort of buying the pound bar and being able to eat 2 squares off it, kind of thing, which even that is, it is a mindset thing.
No, it definitely is. Like, it definitely is. So you're fitter then, you're stronger. Like, tell us the way you're into the weights now then as well.
I am indeed, yeah. Which bizarre, like, I never really thought it was something that I would have ever got into, and you kind of would have, seen other people doing it, albeit, like, as bizarre as it's going to sound, even growing up, I really always loved the World's Strongest Man competition on at Christmas. It was like a real highlight in our house to watch that starting on Boxing Day. But it's just something, I don't know. I can't even really explain it, actually.
Where do you do it then? Do you do it at home and out in gyms and things, or?
Yeah, well, obviously during COVID, very, very lucky in that when I did start my sort of like fitness journey, then I had bought like some weights and stuff that were out in my garage, aka a metal shed. So I had those when COVID came along. So I was very lucky when the gyms closed that I was able to go out there and actually train. But I have to say, like, during the winter, that took a lot of mindset to actually go out there and do that, because it was freezing in it. But I just love the buzz that it can actually give to you, and challenging yourself, whether it's lifting a slightly heavier weight or being able to do more reps, or there's always something different that you can actually do. Like, people kind of think of the sort of 3 compound lifts of the sort of bench, deadlift and squat, but there's so many other things you can do. And there's even, like, Olympic lifts, not that I'm kind of into that. And I do a little bit of sort of the hybrid training around sort of CrossFit, the farmer carries and the sandbags and the med balls and all those kind of things. I'm kind of pretty into trying sort of anything, but essentially the gym, and you're not going to be surprised when I say this, because everybody knows how passionate I am about my day job. My gym's a social enterprise. So I go to Better. So Better run all the Belfast City Council gyms as a social enterprise business model. So a social enterprise is basically a business like any other business. The only difference between the two is what they do with their profits. So a social enterprise will make a profit, will still have all the same kind of business costs that any other regular business would have, and then they will use that for a social purpose, which they have defined, and it's up to the board of that social enterprise to define what that social mission is. So in Better's case, Better have like a twofold. One, they reinvest back into the local community. So you'll see all the time free swims for children, or free summer schemes, or all sorts of different community things that cost them an awful lot of money, and they reinvest that from. So essentially my membership's going to do that. They also have GLL, so that the overarching organization is called Greenwich Leisure, because they operate both here and throughout England, Scotland, Wales as well too. They have a GLL foundation. So money goes into that, and then they fund the next generation of athletes and Paralympians. So you see the last few weeks, you'll see the guys and girls that have been here from Northern Ireland, they've been part funded by Better, and essentially part funded by the people that pay their membership to Better Gym Belfast or any of the sort of 16 gyms. And again, I love that actually, you know, you have such a variety of resource. You can basically, you can go to the swimming, or you can do outdoor boot camps, or you can do weightlifting or spin, or my main one that I would go to would be the one where the in shops used to be, you know, off High Street there. And they have that Prama technology where you can kind of knock lights out with your hands, or do a sit up and knock it out with a med ball, or all sorts of weird and wonderful things. And I love all that kind of hybrid training as well too.
Do you find that you're training or exercising every day?
Monday to Friday before work, but it's not, you know, it's not essential, you know, and it depends on what people really enjoy. Like I say, if you enjoy rollerblading, do rollerblading. If you enjoy walking, go walking, you know. If you enjoy bopping around the house while cleaning, you know, if that's what your thing is, it's just about getting that kind of movement in. But yes, I personally find that I wake up best that way. If I don't have a morning where I don't train, I find myself by sort of like 10, half 10, having that kind of lethargic feeling of, oh, I haven't really woke up.
At what point in your fitness journey did you find that it changed from it being a chore to being something that you were loving doing?
Probably after about a year, because the first year, yes, was tough. It was tough because, you know, again, being around that sort of 40 kind of age, you know, your knees were sore, your legs were sore, your ankles were sore, you know, everything seemed to hurt kind of basically. And you just weren't sure. And I suppose in a way at the start in your mindset, you're like, I can never do that. You know, that's something I'll never be able to do. Like I'd see the ones in the circuit classes, or I'd see them in the kettlebell classes, you know, lifting these weights or swinging these kettlebells. And I'm thinking, how do you ever do that? You know, and now I do that. Like, you know, and in some ways, what's lovely actually about being at the gym or lifting weights is actually I can move as much as a much younger person as well too. You know, it actually doesn't really matter your age as well too. You know, I can just do so much more, you know, I genuinely can. And then no one ever even thinks about your age either.
And you were motivated, obviously, by your sister and the responsibility of having, you know, of having that responsibility, but also, you know, the offset of that is that you are feeling the benefits yourself. You're feeling stronger. You're feeling better in yourself, and you're able to buy the clothes that you want to buy, and you're enjoying taking on these new fitness challenges. Have you got anything like? Have you got a next goal that's been set, or a next plan for what you want to do next? I don't even know why I'm asking. Obviously you do. You can see, you're like, oh yes,
I've got a biggie.
Yeah.
As you can see from my social media, I've started doing the hiking, and I'm doing the hiking with a guided social enterprise company as well too. So their social mission is actually to help people with their mental health. So essentially all of us, you know, if you want a guided hike, you pay to go on the guided hike, and then the profits, then they use that to work with anyone who has sort of mental health issues and support them on a kind of one-to-one basis as well too. So it's fantastic. It's really good. And they actually set up just at the start of COVID. So they set up in response to kind of COVID. So anyway, the challenge that I actually have is that on the 25th of September, which is actually Memory Walk Day, they have organized a hike up Ireland's highest peak, which is down in Killarney, or just outside Killarney. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do it in memory of Mum, and I'm going to raise money. So I have to tell you a funny story about why I'm doing that as well too. One, I'm doing it just because I'm going to try it, and I'm terrified. I genuinely am terrified. I really, really am, because it's, you know, about 300 meters more higher than anything I've climbed so far. And I don't particularly love heights, as I said earlier, but actually, my mum, bless her, okay, she actually would have rung you loads. So actually, like, going, Amanda, I couldn't sleep last night because of the size of your thighs. Like, I'm really worried. Like, genuinely, you know, they mums can just say things to you. My response always to her was, well, Mum, you're mad, because me and my thighs were fast asleep while you were worrying. You know, I'm perfectly fine. What are you worrying about? So, you know, after mum died and I did change my lifestyle, like I did do a fundraiser the year after for running down dementia again, actually. And it was that you had to run 100K across the summer. Now you just did it at your own pace and 2 miles here and wherever, and it went back to your Fitbit, and the charity could kind of see that you actually were doing it. And you could walk it if you wanted to walk it, though I did challenge myself. And I laughed at that point going, imagine mum thinking that my thighs could actually do this kind of thing and run, you know, 100K. But then this challenge just, it blows my mind actually that do it. And like, I probably will cry my heart out at the top, both in terms of making it to the top, but also, you know, that my mum would actually, you know, be looking down and sort of going, oh my word, I can't believe you've done that. She probably is also looking down going, you're mad. That is not something I want you to do, because you'd probably be terrified that I'd actually be doing it. But hey ho, it's, you know, it's a twofold thing. Personal challenge for me, good memory. In fact, it's threefold, but also making money for a charity.
That's brilliant. Amanda, thank you very much. If people want to find out maybe a little bit more or follow your fitness journey, or if they have any questions for you or want to find more about your work, where can they find you online?
Okay. Well, me personally, you'll find me on Instagram at fitish and over 40. It's very, very bizarre. I will have to change that soon because it's coming up close to getting to 50 in a couple of years. But the day job, yes, I'm very passionate about social enterprise, and social enterprise exists in every kind of business industry out there. So if you want to know more, drop me an email at amanda@socialenterpriseni.org.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much for joining me today, and well done again. And I'm sure your mum will be very proud of you whenever you reach the top of the peak.
Thanks very much, Amanda. Lovely to speak to you.